Happy Friday, everyone. Okay, it is time to paint the gold on here. But before I do, there's a couple things I want to go over. I've been getting some questions. I like to keep the questions answered as we go along, or most of them at least. So the first one I had is this sign, this Rolling Hills sign, you know, what size screw eyes, or, you know, how is it going to be mounted? Now, this particular one, like I had mentioned early on, it's a collaboration for a YouTuber, and he's actually going to install it himself. And this is, but it's a really good question. Most of the big signs that I do, generally speaking, the people that order them from me, or in this particular case, they already have in their mind exactly how they're going to install it, because they've already told me the size. They're going to mount it on posts, or they're going to mount it maybe up against a wall. Most of my small signs, I always supply screw eyes, like this. I supply screw eyes for them, and then drill into the, you can zoom in on it there, I guess, I hope. I kind of messed you up there, I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyway, so I supply screw eyes for my smaller signs, and I always have. However, I would never suggest to hang a sign this size, or even close to this size, or bigger yet, with screw eyes. Even though you can get bigger screw eyes, I would never hang this sign from a screw eye, just simply because the weight on it is going to pull those threads out of that wood over time, especially if there's any wind blowing. So any sign like this, I always suggest mount it on a wall, get some other kind of hanging hardware, and that's a video that I want to do in the future, in the near future, is different ways that you can hang big signs like this. But screw eyes would not be one of them. That's just not the way I would do it. But in most cases, like I say, when I do a big sign, the customer is going to take care of that, because I don't do sign installation even if it was local. I just don't do that. The customer takes care of that. Okay, so that's hope that answers that question. Another thing is, somebody was asking about the critter sprayer, and asking about the gaskets. I cut my own gaskets just because I'm cheap, I guess, and I've got the wherewithal to do it. It's easy for me with the laser to cut them. So these are the little gaskets that I make, and they're made out of. Somebody was asking what they're made out of, and they're just made out of. We bought a whole bunch of these for some other project we had. We've got a whole case of them, and they're called chipboard pads. We bought them from Uline, 8.5 by 11. I don't know, Dad bought them for something, and so I've got a whole case of them. So I just cut these out of there, and they work pretty well. However, I've been thinking about getting some real thin cork, because the laser will cut cork, and try and cork as well. I think the cork ones may work a little bit better, even though I haven't had any issues with these, but they tear pretty easily. So anyway, that's that. Now, here's the deal. Before I start spraying this, I want to show you guys.
Painting?
Before I start painting it, yes, I've already sprayed it. Although, we'll get into that in a minute. What I found, and I didn't realize it till I came out here this morning, I've got a couple places with drips. I don't know if you can see those or not. Now, in this particular instance, these drips are going to be covered by paint, because remember, this is going to be gold, this is going to be gold. All the letters are going to be gold. The only thing that's going to be wood color is the tree itself. Now, that being said, I think the gold is going to cover that. I don't think it's going to be a problem at all. We'll find out when I get to spraying the gold. But on the tree, there are a few little drips. Now, how that happened, I'm not exactly positive, but I think I know. Now, see, so here's the little critter sprayer. And somebody had asked actually on the YouTube channel the other day, you know, how much pressure is in this jar? It seems like it might be dangerous if these mason jars can't take that much pressure. Well, there's zero pressure in this jar. The reason there's zero pressure is because, and you have to kind of know how this thing works. See, the air pressure comes in through here, and it comes over here. There's no air pressure that goes where?
Yeah, so I can
There's
see.
no air pressure that goes in here. That air blowing across the top of this nozzle, this is just a tube that goes down in here, that air blowing across here siphons, pulls that liquid out of the jar. So there is no air pressure in the jar at all. However, what I think happened here, and I'm not for sure, but what I think happened here is this. When this sign was laying down and I was spraying, and if this liquid gets to the bottom, here's what happens. See how that's kind of dripping? Well, there's a hole right here, and then of course it will drip out of here as well. And so I think what happened was I had it, maybe the liquid was low or something, and it kind of dripped on there, or it dripped right from here because it, you know, it just did. I'm going to fix that, and I'll show you in a minute. But Vicky was asking me, and this is a really good question, why is there a hole there? Well, the hole is there is because when the liquid comes out of here, then if they didn't have a way to replace the air that's in this jar, it would create a vacuum in there, and you'd lose your siphon. That's how a siphon works. So you've got to have air coming in here as this liquid goes down. If there's not a way for that air to be replaced, then you'll end up with a vacuum here and it won't spray. So anyway, that is one of the issues with this thing that I found, and I think that's the reason these drips. I'm still learning this thing, guys. I'm just telling you as I'm going along kind of what I think my theory is. Now, another thing that you guys that have been watching for very long, I've talked about, is always test first before you try it on somebody else's, on a customer sign. In my particular case, I want to test before I go on camera and do it on camera, because then it might be an issue. So I took a piece of pine. This is pine here as well. I took a piece of pine and I sprayed 4 coats on it.
There you go.
I sprayed 4 coats on it, and then I painted some of my gold on top of that. Now, then, so I was all ready to do this video this morning. Then I see these drips. And I thought, oh man, it doesn't really, I don't think it'll matter on the border and the letters, but it will matter on the tree. I don't want those drips to show on that tree. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to recoat at least the tree. But here's what I did. You guys can't tell, but this has a 5th coat on top of the gold. I painted that gold on there yesterday, and now it has a 5th coat that I just brushed on real quick to see. I want to make sure there wasn't a reaction between the gold, which is oil-based, and the spray czar that I use on here, which is water-based. So my test came out positive. So that being the case, what I'm going to do is after I get all the painting done, I'm probably going to put another coat. At least I may put a brush coat on the tree, or I might put a spray coat over everything. And you guys will see it, even if you don't see the finished product done on this video, you will see it done after I put one more coat. I think I'm going to use a critter, and I'm going to spray the whole thing with one more coat over the whole deal, because I really like the way the gold even comes out. I think it looks a little bit better with a spray coat over the top of it. Now, I'm running out of juice here. You guys know that I've always said I put the paint on last, after the finish. Well, the main reason I've always done that is because the Helmsman, or any polyurethane, spar urethane that I've used, always has an amber color to it. So if I put that on top of a color, it generally changes that color, especially light colors like a yellow or a white. And many of you that on the Facebook groups and even on have written me and said, what did I do wrong? I painted my white and then I put a coat of Helmsman on and it turned yellow. Well, that's what it will do, because that Helmsman has an amber color to it. This czar is perfectly clear. It doesn't look perfectly clear in the jar, but it comes out perfectly clear. So that means that I could put this czar over the top of colors and I wouldn't have an issue with it as far as changing the color. In fact, in this particular case, I think it kind of brings that gold out a little bit more. I think I covered everything. I'm out of breath. All right, let's get into this painting. I just wanted to clear all that up first and get into this painting. I have more questions on this sign and related topics, but I don't want this video to be an hour long. So here's what I'm going to do. This is the paint that I'm using. This is the One Shot. Where's the thing? This is the One Shot, and this is a metallic gold that I'm using. And I bought another can of this actually because I thought I might run out doing all this border, which I might. But I bought a bigger can, and I'm going to use my little can first. All right. So this stuff is a metal flake. Oh, here's the color I'm using.
It's too small.
It's metal flake. It's enamel 109L metallic gold. Okay? All right. Let's get into this.
Oh, that's where all my spoons go.
Just one? Not all.
One
Don't
this
say
time.
all. One.
One today,
One.
one tomorrow,
One
on
spoon.
the next sign.
One spoon. Hey, I've learned I don't drain my oil using your roasting pan anymore. That was back in my early days. I'm sure somebody can
That's
relate.
when life almost ended for you.
Yeah, I'm sure
That's
somebody
your
can
Thanksgiving.
relate to that out there. Yeah, roasting pans are not for draining your oil in your Chevy. All right, so let's get into this. Now I have to do the border last. I want to get all of my insides done first and then do the border last. So I'm going to start on and work this from two different sides. Start on the L here.
That is such a gorgeous color.
Oh, it is gorgeous, isn't it? I love this metallic gold. This stuff is not super cheap. It's kind of pricey, but it's called One Shot for a reason. This is actually automotive paint, but I found out about it from you guys. Somebody wrote and told me about it. It covers really well. It flows really well, and they've got just tons of different colors. And you don't have to recoat. I know I'm in front of the camera.
It's okay.
There. Sorry. Yeah, I love this stuff. It goes a long ways. This little 4-ounce can may do this whole sign. That I don't know. I think it was... What was the price on this stuff, babe? I think you bought it for me on Amazon. It was like 20 bucks or 22 bucks or something for this little 4-ounce can. But if you do very much of this, boy... So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start this process, show you how I go about it. These are, and I've got a whole assortment of brushes here. I think this stuff will flow out just fine. So I'm going to paint this L, and then what we're going to do is I'll finish the rest of the letters up off camera. Then I'll come back and I will start the border and then finish the border up off of camera, and then show you guys what it looks like when it's all done. Somebody had asked me, I think they sent me an email and asked me about gold leafing. I've never done gold leafing. Dad did gold leafing back in the 70s. I've never done it, but I am kind of curious. That may be something I try. How's that look, babe?
Looks good.
I don't know. I see some brush marks. I wonder if I should even that stuff out or whether it's going to flow out on its own.
I think you should even it out.
Is it evening out? Is that working? Looks like it kind of is.
So it's kind of drying.
That'll flow out. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this and then come back. All these letters will be done, letters and numbers, and then we'll get into the border. So we'll be right back. All right, we got all the letters done. Now it's time to do the outside border. So I picked a bigger version on a brush. This is the widest brush that I have. And what I've done is to try and give myself a little bit of leeway. I've never painted on the edge of a sign where there's a deep bevel. So I've decided where I can, especially on these long straight shots, to use some painter's tape to help me a little bit. Does that show?
Kinda.
Kinda? I can turn it around.
No, it's okay.
Anyway, so I'm kind of hoping that, you know, and if you guys haven't been watching me a lot, you'll know, if you have been, you'll know this is my least favorite thing of any part of the sign making process. This is my least favorite. But it's worth, the process is worth the results. So, at least I hope it will be. So anyway, let's now one of the things I didn't mention before is on this metal flake paint, every few minutes I stir it up. I shake it up before I start, which I did already, and then every few minutes I've taken one of my other paint brushes and I just stir it up just to make sure that that metal flake is not settling too much at the bottom. So every 5 minutes or so, I'll just take and I'll stir that up. Again, this is oil based, so everything has to clean with thinner. All right, let's see. It's not my.
This is the part
thing.
where I get to make fun.
This is not my favorite thing, but it's just what I have to do. Gosh, I hope that's not running over the edge. If it is, I found a way to, after I get all this done and I come back and all the edge is done, I will, I'll show you how I go about kind of touching up areas that, where I got a little run over.
I sure do like that gold. That is gorgeous.
Yeah, it is very pretty. I hope the customer is going to be happy with it. I haven't told you guys yet who this is for, and I can't for a while. It's for a YouTuber. It's got a big channel. I think that's all going to flow out pretty well. I hope. But I definitely have decided that after the paint is all dry, I'm going to put another coat, spray another coat of exterior finish over the whole thing. I'm going to use a Czar. It's got, I might have told you before, I can't remember. It's got 4 coats of Czar on underneath the gold on the bare wood. And I'll put a 5th coat on top of the gold once it dries. Silence. Wow.
Something that doesn't happen very often around here.
Yeah, that's an understatement. We do like our silence, though.
Yeah, only for a short time, though.
You know what? I was thinking about it when I was painting earlier, and I didn't mention it to you. I know why you like this color so much and why I like it so much.
This color of my Trans Am.
It was the color of our first Trans Am, or our only Trans Am.
My dream car.
Yeah. Yeah, that was back when we had a life before kids.
Yeah, once we had the kids, we had to get rid of it.
Once we had kids, we had to sell the Trans Am. But it was this exact color.
Yeah, it was kind of hard putting 1.5-year-old in the back seat of a Trans Am when you're, 9 months pregnant. That was.
It was a 78, I think.
Yeah.
God, I love that car.
I did too. T-tops and the bird and oh my gosh.
I love that car. Maybe someday we'll get another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just I was sitting here painting and I'm thinking, man, why do I love this color so much? And it's the exact color of that Trans Am. I had the 455. Oh man, that thing
would get up and go. Remember, we'd take it out by the river and.
Well, I loved driving up to Tahoe with it.
Oh yeah.
Taking those corners because it just handled. That's by far the best handling car of its day that we ever drove. I mean, I'm sure there were better handling cars, but it was the best one we ever had. I will say our Chrysler now handles really well too, but that Trans Am, man, that was fun.
That thing would get up and
so
go.
much fun to drive.
See, I'm talking and not paying attention on the
oh,
camera.
did you lose me?
Sorry. Yeah, we're talking
sorry,
about
folks.
my Trans Am.
That was Vicky. That was not me.
Talking dream car here.
That was Vicky.
I'm sorry.
That's funny. All right. I think you guys have kind of got the gist of what we're doing here. I'm going to go ahead and finish this thing up all the way around the edge, and then we'll come back at the end. See ya. All right, you guys, I got all the gold done. All the painting is done. I'm really happy with the way it came out. I love that gold color. It was a lot of painting, but actually it wasn't too bad. It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. It wasn't as time consuming. I probably have altogether maybe an hour and a half in the painting process. As hard as that is for me, because I hate it, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So let me tell you or show you what I've kind of discovered on fixing mess ups on this stuff. So I've got a little spot right here where you can see the gold kind of came over the edge. Now what I've done is I've just taken my little razor out of my razor knife, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my cheaters on. And I've kind of alluded to this in the past a little bit, but I'm going to take my razor knife. I'm just going to scrape that stuff off. It scrapes off actually really easily, much easier than I thought it would. And what happens is it just kind of sets on top and it scrapes off. It's still not dry completely, but it's dry to the touch, but it scrapes off nice and easy. If it turns out you go too deep and you go into your black, then you can always get one of these little pins that I use. So I wouldn't put the black right over the gold because it doesn't stick to it. It doesn't adhere. But if you scrape the gold off, or your paint, if you're using this one touch, and then take that off, then that pin just kind of touches it right up. So that's something I kind of, again, guys, this isn't, painting isn't my forte. I just do it because I have to. But I do like the results. That's for sure. So we'll have one more scene where I'm going to let this set all day long, and then I'm going to make sure it's nice and dry. Then I'm going to put one more coat of Czar over the whole thing, and I think that will make that gold pop even more. That's what it did on my test piece. In fact, I don't know. I didn't even look at that to see if there's a difference between those two.
If there's glare on it, the other way. There you go.
So this is with the Czar real light brush coat on top of the gold. So I'm going to do one more coat over the whole thing. The reason I'm doing that is I had a couple little drips on this tree. I've already scraped them off with my little razor knife. I scraped those off and got it down to where you can't even tell where they were. But I want to just coat the whole thing one more time with the Czar, and we'll do that on the next scene, and that will be it. All right, you guys, we'll see you in a minute. All right.
Who really wants a belly rub?
Still. You want a belly rub too?
He's not giving up.
He still wants the rub. All right, all right. You are one spoiled pig. All right. I got work to do, pig. I ain't got time for this foolishness. Oh, good pig. All right.
No, he's just comfortable. He really is alive.
Yeah, he's alive.
Toot. Toot, toot. Toot.
Toot. Pay attention.
Here comes Snort. He thinks he's going to get something to eat. All right. Okay.
He's being lazy.
Ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. We're recording.
Oh, we are? Okay. All right. So, we are going to put the final coat of Czar. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to put the final coat of this Czar on this sign, and this will do it. So, I think the light is a lot better out here. It really shows that gold a little bit better. I've got this all set. Should be ready to go. Nope, actually I have to, I got to go turn the air on.
I turned it on and you weren't.
Yeah, I got to turn the air on. Hold on, guys. That'll spray better now. All right, let's spray this gold, see what it looks like. I think that does make it stand out a little bit better.
It does. Hard to tell on the screen here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does. It just kind of makes it pop a little bit more. You guys let us know what you think. I'm going to spin it just slightly. We've got kind of early morning sun starting to come up, but I want to lay it down flat so we don't get any drips. But anyway, guys, that is it. We are done. I'm going to ship this thing off to the customer, and so let us know what you guys think. Evidently, you guys kind of like these projects where we're doing 3 or 4 or 5 videos in a series. We've got one more. I've got some other stuff kind of in mind, so I think I want to lay that down before it starts. I do not want any drips on that thing. I just made this little stand for standing that up because I wanted you guys to be able to see it as I sprayed it on there. Anyway, so Monday morning, we're going to do a large sign carvers of the day since we haven't done any for like 2 weeks. We're going to do a whole bunch of them. So stay tuned. Let us know what you guys think. If you want to see more projects like this, so far the response has been pretty good. You guys seem to like these things, and I've got one more in mind right now, and maybe a couple more after that. So we got some great things coming up. So I hope you guys like those Halloween templates that we put on the last video. We're getting some pretty good response from it. So anyway, guys, thanks again. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Bye.